All right, everybody. Hey, it is um it seems like all the days are just kind of running into each other. All right, so today is, let's take a look. Today is April 16th, and today's 20 minutes with Bridget is going to be on the second chakra, the sacral, and there's an Indian Sanskrit word for it. But you can find links and all kinds of information that go along with this video on the blog, and the blog is at coe-llc.com. And today is 20 minutes with Bridget, April 16th, and it's going to be second chakra. And so we're going to talk about some ideas about the second chakra. In a couple weeks, when we get through most of the chakra system, I'm going to be teaching a 20-minute class on how to release, how to physically release those areas to get the, we talked about in the first video. So if you didn't see the first video on the first chakra, you can find that on Patreon, Consciousness of Economics. I'm putting all my 20 minutes with Bridget up there. And we talked a lot about the chakra system. So you have your energy body. It's the main place where all the power is stored. It's the power company. And I'm teaching a class this next Sunday on what happens when you don't have any power energy left in your energy body. And we're going to talk about a lot of things that have to do with that. So look for Carrying Stones and Digging Holes weekly online class. And it's going to be April 19th. There's also a blog on it with all the information that you're going to need. And spend an hour kind of discussing this, the weight of the totality, and what it means, and your health, and all kinds of those different kinds of ideas. So today we're going to do second chakra. So before I explain that the energy body is where the power is stored, and then it feeds through the transformer fuse box, which is the chakra, and then it puts it into the energy field. And if you look at it like in a cone structure, right, it gives you kind of a more visual of like, oh yeah, it's coming in, and then it's fine tuning itself exactly what's needed at that direct spot in the body, right? And then what happens is that it deals with a diaphragm in the body. So there's 6 major diaphragms in the body. And we're going to be talking more about the diaphragms, because those are the things that we're going to be working on opening, because a lot of them get closed and they can't contract, right? And so this is, energy body all the way to your cells is, really big piece of work, and how it all kind of works together and how all focuses. So it's just going to take time to break that down. Okay, so look for the, breaking open these different chakra areas and diaphragms in the future. Okay, so today we're going to deal with the second chakra. So that has kind of a cone shape that comes out the front and the back. And it's kind of below the belly button, right? And this is the chakra that really goes haywire, because this is where, most people, like in American type culture, fall in love. They fall in love from the sacral, the sexual area, right? And that energy point. But that area can also be the area where we manipulate and control other people, kind of when, where we get a little dark. Sometimes we get off balance. It's also where you're going to have, lower back issues, a lot of other types of, reproduction type issues, endometriosis, a lot of these other things. Also, managing how your colon's operating if you're overly constipated, or you have, irritable bowel syndrome. And that all has to do with that area of the body. And uh-oh, we have trouble on the horizon. Hold on one minute, please. Okay, sorry about that. We had the dog on the patio. You know, people think that she's being aggressive, but she's just talking to the other dog down below, and they're like, really excited, like, "Wow, wow, wow," so making a lot of noise. So I had to bring that to a close, because we're dealing with real time, right? It is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. Okay. So we're dealing with the second chakra, and so lots of different kinds of issues can come from the constriction or the misalignment of the hips, the joints, the where the pubic bone is sitting, because it's a major diaphragm that should be opening and closing. But when you have falls on your back, your tailbone, a lot of these other things, people don't really get these things fixed, and over time that area will get blocked, and so it won't be opening and closing the diaphragm, which means that the whole power grid is offline. It's not working, right? So it's important to keep the energy body full, and it's important to keep the chakra going in, and then the contraction of the body and how it works. Also, it's this part of the back is super important for getting the cerebral fluid pumping up and down the spine effectively to pressurize the brain. Super important. This is an area where a lot of people have some serious issues and will get surgeries like in the lower back. And remember that the nerves are kind of like the electrical system. They're the data information transmitters, communicators, and they can be the electronic system, right? The electrical system, right? The little cables like running through walls. So every surgery you get is going to cut through these, and they're never going to get those meridians, ley lines. People know ley lines on the earth. Same thing, it's a meridian, right? Worked with them in a lot of the shamanism work I've done with my native teachers. So it's the same thing with the meridians. You start cutting through those and they're never going to reconnect back up. So you can also damage some of the system and no longer actually ever be able to get it back up, and completely going. So it's really important to really think these things out and try to get, help and more alternative help than possible. And if it's a hit and miss and you find people that don't really help you that much, you keep looking, keep searching, because structural medicine is something that most people don't even understand. So, and I know because that's what I've been doing for 30 years. And it's complicated because people don't really understand it. There are a lot of people who really aren't doing this work, that people think are doing this work, that they aren't very knowledgeable. And yeah, it takes a lot of information and understanding to actually kind of put the whole thing together and be able to get those areas healed and opened up and restored, so people can have like quality of life. Okay, let's go into the second chakra. All right, so on the blog, let me see here. All right, so this is what we've got. Second chakra governs the water inside of you. All that is fluid, this energy center relates to fun, freedom, creative, flexibility, sex, pleasure, money. That's on the upswing. Some people say that is the seat of our emotions, and in my experience, and so for the person that's writing the piece, physical body chakra, second chakra relates to your reproductive organs, your bladder, kidneys, and adrenals, and lower back. Okay, so any of those organs that are not working well, your chakra is probably not working well, and your energy body, there's probably like some kind of lack of power, and then also the physical part of the diaphragm is not actually open, and the nerve endings are not sending messages to the brain for the brain to pick up that part of the body. And if they are sending messages, maybe there's a blockage or a herniated disc or some kind of damage to the nerve, or it's pinched, where the communication is not getting back and forth, and so the brain can't send a signal to that area to regenerate itself, right? So then it doesn't get regenerated, so it breaks down over time. So, all right, so let's see. So let's just kind of talk about, I think there was like, let me throw out a food thing here. Imbalances due to stress in any layer of the body, physical, mental, emotional, energetic, you can slow down, stagnate, and go completely into overdrive or go into overdrive. Yeah, so there was like some food things too that I also put on this blog that you can go back and look at. And the color's orange. And so, yeah, so what does it look like? You know, one of the things that I like to talk about, you know, with a chakra, right? That type of energy, you're a left and a right, right? So left side feminine connects to the right hemisphere, right side male connects to the left hemisphere. So you may have a chakra, right, that's feeding from your energy body into the chakra, and then it's going in, we'll just say throat chakra, even though we're working on the second chakra. This is just kind of a understanding, a mini discussion. So what's going to happen, okay, here you got your chakra jamming, right? But when it becomes, the chakra starts to become unbalanced, which means the cone can get damaged. It cannot be actually, you know, pulling the energy into the body. It can, you know, its vortex can get weebly wobbly. There's all kinds of things that can happen. And in some cases, we're going to be working on the next chakra, which is tomorrow, is the BB, and that's a new one that we developed in '95. So we're going to be actually working on activating that and kind of gaining an understanding with what's going on with that chakra. So in the throat chakra, what may happen if it gets unbalanced, right, is that it's going to be unbalanced, right? So it's not going to be balanced. So it's not going to be in its perfect sweet spot, you know, kind of like microbes in the cell, right? Those microbes being in the cell, that's the sweet spot. Everything's perfect. But man, those microbes get out of the cell and all hell breaks loose. And everything unimaginable can happen physically with your health. So when it does get imbalanced, then it's going to get really imbalanced on one side. So for example, in your root chakra, you've got a left and a right side. So you've got these, you know, polarities between male and female. You can notice that between different, you know, you look at your body, one eye is like higher than the other. Your nose is maybe a little crooked. Maybe you had some crooked teeth kind of on one side more than the other. One leg maybe shorter than the other. So you can really see kind of like the imbalance in the polarity of the two sides of yourself playing out, and then how that root chakra is going to get imbalanced. So in the second chakra, you're dealing with either your internal emotional self, which is going to be the left side, which is more towards the feminine energy. So if you start getting a lot of weird stuff going on physically on that side, in that area of that second chakra, then you really, really need to start stopping and really kind of listening to the records that are playing in the back of your head. If it's stuck, say the second chakra is stuck on the other side, that's the outside world. So it's dealing with money, can deal with, you know, relationships, marriages, your work, your colleagues, travel, what's in your bank account, the kind of house you're living in, the stress that you're under from all of those things, right? Because it's not allowing you to actually balance yourself out, which is take a look at your emotions, right, on the feminine side, and then kind of being in balance between the outer world and the inner world. So when we're really out of balance with our root chakra, we can be controlling, manipulating. This is kind of where we bond relationship wise. It's also a place that could be kind of dominating and abusive. And like I said, it's it's dealing with the whole inner world and the whole outer world, not the above world. So all the first, 3 chakras deal with this physical reality, and they're kind of help us to be tethered to this world and dealing with this world, in a female and male way, right? Standing on the earth. And then the heart is the bridge to the upper world, so above, right? So below, so above. So we're working on the below. Be here now. Okay, so yeah, if you start to get kind of psychotic or psycho or emotionally charged and reactive, and you're probably going to have a serious imbalance there in the second chakra. And it may even be an imbalance that started in the root chakra. And so the root chakra and the second chakra is affected. So say, for example, you have a fall or you break your hip on one side. And so the other side becomes your dominant hip. Because of that trauma and stress, it's going to change all the tissue and the bone structure of the root chakra and that diaphragm and the second chakra, probably up even into the third and fourth chakra, even up into the neck. I've seen stuff. And so all that stuff has to be worked out from the base level. All right, so we're gonna have a class where I'll show people, give people ideas on how to open up these, in the future. Okay, so I wanted to actually do an energy thing today, because otherwise we're going to do another water mudra. That's all. We've been just doing water mudra the last few days. So I feel pretty watery today. I do. I feel kind of foggy, like I'm underwater. So I might, have been activating too much water. So we're going to actually do some guided imagery, energy healing. And so hopefully we'll get through this really fast. So we're going to go ahead and kind of put our hands kind of in a close proximity. And what you're going to do is you're going to like move energy from your heart through this arm, out this hand, into this hand. Okay. So we're just going to go ahead and rotate energy from the heart up and around through the arm, into the hand, into the other hand. And then when you kind of start to feel a little warmth, in this hand, in the palm, then you're going to lay off this hand, and then you're going to move the heart around through this hand into this hand. And I like to just wait till I can feel kind of like a heat or a warmth start up in the palm. That way I know I'm starting to generate power, starting to generate some energy. Okay, now what we're going to do, because we want the energy to come from the left and right side, right? We want to generate power from both sides so that we're in balance. So there's, we have equality, internal equality. That's important. If you want to be a unified field, you have to be in equality, right? You have to be symmetrical. Everything has to be aligned, in balance. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push energy from my heart coming through both my arms into my hands, directed at each other. And in my mind, I'm going to watch a ball of energy be constructed inside, like the size of a baseball, right? And we're going to go ahead and actually put some love. Let's put some heart chakra, some green, vibrant energy into that energy ball, into the softball. So we're actively using energy, we're generating energy to the center, but sometimes our minds have to imagine it pulling into a ball. And then we're also going to imagine that that green energy coming from the heart is also coming with it. So the ball is actually a vibrant green energy color, right? So we're just going to go ahead and take some breath and create our energy ball. So I always like to breathe in my nose, breathe out my nose, breathe in my nose, breathe out my nose. And I'm noticing my ball is kind of generating some black. So I've got to kind of clean that out. I got some rusty pipes. So I'm just going to kind of work on clearing out. Looks like there's a lot of stuff coming out of this hand. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear that up. And then we're about clear. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull all that stuff away. Take it somewhere else. Awesome. All right, now I'm going to get back to making that green ball. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this green ball, I'm moving it right down to my second chakra, a little bit below the belly button, right? And I'm going to pull the ball apart. So I have two halves, and I'm going to push it in and rub it into the back side and the front side of my chakra. And then I'm going to take my hands and make sure that any of that energy that may be sticking out, that I'm actually rubbing in the whole area across the front. And then in the back, making sure it's all moved down and pushed in. And then I'm going to stretch it along the back side, right? Well, I can feel how good that feels already. Okay, so, and then we're just going to close off the energy, right? We're just going to settle it. So we're just going to break it and then send it back through the arms back to the heart so that the heart is holding on to that energy field now. And we're releasing it out of our hands and arms, right? And so we're disconnecting. And then I'm just going to take in a couple breaths inside your nose and out your nose. I'm going to take in some big ones. All right. It's been 20 minutes with Bridgette. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be doing BB, the BB chakra. Over and out. Thanks so much.